so now it's time for my tips on how to channel your anger in a more positive way. So I did have anger issues in the past, along with the other mental health issues that I had, the depression, the panic attacks, the OCD, the anxiety. It did make me a very angry person, and I would really lose my temper, mainly with my boyfriend. And it was like, at the time I felt like I couldn't control it. I would swear at him, throw things at him, was quite violent towards him, and then I'd feel really guilty afterwards. And of course I had to actually deal with that because it was very, very destructive to the relationship. So that actually brings me to my first point, which is ask why you're angry. What's the root of your anger? Sometimes people explode, or they have these temper tantrums, and they think it's something. They think, for example, oh, it's because that person's annoying me, or I'm going through some stress at work, when actually it could be something completely different. There might be something a lot more deeply rooted, even from childhood. So you have to really get to the root of why you are angry. I was angry because of, it was a consequence of the other mental health issues that I was going through. So once you identify why you're angry in the first place, then you'll be able to deal with it. You'll be able to get the right help, address the issues. If you need to speak to people to sort things out, maybe from the past, you can actually do something to find out, how to get over that anger. And if you need professional help for that, please do ask for that, because living with anger is very, very destructive to you, to your mental health, to your physical health even. My second point then, take yourself out of the situation. So until you actually get to the root of your anger and start to deal with it, avoid what makes you angry. Or if you find yourself in that situation, walk away so you don't say or do something that you regret. Sometimes it actually takes a while to get to the root of an issue and to get the right help for it. So until that time, if there are certain situations that make you feel worse, if there's a certain person that kind of brings things up and makes you feel worse, try to avoid being in those situations or around those certain people. Obviously, if it's a loved one, if it's a partner, you can't really walk away from them because of that. So just need to try and find ways of dealing with it until you get the help that you need. And my third point is that realize it's a decision. Sometimes people say, and I used to say, I can't control my anger, I couldn't help it, something took over, and I was just, I did what I did. But the thing is, if you really think about it, many people can actually control their anger, because if you think about it, if you were at work and your boss maybe said something that you didn't like and you were angry inside, but you wouldn't start shouting at your boss and throwing things at him and or at least most people wouldn't. You wouldn't start throwing things at him or her. You would somehow contain those emotions. So it is possible. It is possible to actually calm yourself down, remove yourself from the situation, and, as I said, just calm down. So it is actually a decision. If you start, and that's how I actually started to control my anger. Every time I would start to feel that this was when I was getting help, by the way, when I started to feel those, my stomach getting tight and my face going red and hot, then in my mind, I would be like, no, I'm deciding not to lose my temper. To be honest, it took a little while. There were times when I slipped up and, I was angry all over again, and I'd shout and say things that I regretted. But eventually, as I started to work on myself and started to work on actually controlling and deciding that I wasn't going to be angry anymore, it got better until, the anger problems completely vanished. My fourth point is practice makes perfect. As I said earlier, you may slip up, but keep at it. You will get there. And number 5, get angry at your problems. Now, this is a vital one, because a lot of people channel their anger at other people and they explode and they say things that they shouldn't. Having especially something like a mental health issue can alter your behavior quite a bit. So why not try, instead of directing your anger towards people, direct your anger towards the situation that you're in. So if you say to yourself, as I did, as one day I learned, look, I'm not supposed to be going through depression. I'm not supposed to be feeling like this. I'm not supposed to be waking up every day feeling like absolute rubbish. I started to get angry at what I was going through. I started to turn the tables around and say, do you know what? I'm not putting up with this anymore. And there were times when I actually talked to the depression and I'd say, get out of my life. I don't want you anymore. And I channeled my anger towards the problem instead of towards people. And that actually is such a good thing, because it kind of makes it's your right basically to be happy. That's what I'm trying to say. It's your right to be happy. You have a right to wake up in the morning, look forward to your day and not be going through all these issues that you're going through, not feeling like rubbish, as I said earlier. So claim that for you. Claim that and turn the anger and chase your problems away. And actually, I'd like to end on a quote from writer Mark Twain. He says, "Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured."